You don't need
You don't
enemies.
need, you don't need enemies. Of course you don't.
You don't need an
Hang
enema.
on, wait.
You don't need
I'm gonna go off and come back on in a moment. Hang on.
I've heard that
See?
about you. So I've heard that you do that. So I don't think it's okay.
God.
When it comes back, we'll technically start the show, even though
Yeah.
we're recording live. So today, fans, just to let everybody know, because we have our huge fan base, I'm going to smoke something by Drew Estate because my EGMs have not gotten here, and it's called the Feral by Drew Estates, and I just lit it, and it's an interesting cigar. You don't have to cut it; it's ready to go. I think it's a very full body, so I'm kind of enjoying it.
What do you mean by it's ready to go and you don't have to cut it?
Because the head of the cigar has a little opening. You don't have to cut it. It's got a little opening right there. You just suck it. That's what I told my dates. It's the same thing. So I like it. So it's called the Feral. It's very good. I'm enjoying. So, and so we'll give a review of that. And you, of course, are smoking what I want to be smoking, which won't be here until this week or coming up, which is EGM.
Yes, sir. So I was like, because I have to go after the show for dinner.
Fucking hell. Fuck you all. Sorry. Oh, that was didn't go the line.
Oh.
Thank you very much for joining in, His Highness, and being live.
Fucking hell. Hang on.
What? You know, it's tough being you.
You don't know the half of it. You don't know the half of it.
I know. I see that.
So since I have a dinner to attend after,
imagine a Muslim version of Woody Allen.
Yeah. Okay, I got that. Is that you? That's you, huh? Oh, so wait a minute. You slept with your nanny?
No, I meant neurosis.
Oh, okay, neurosis. Okay. So Usman's smoking an EGM, and Reza, what are you smoking?
I'm smoking an EGM as well.
I would smoke. You know what? I would smoke an EGM, but they're not here yet.
Hang on.
He's smoking a K Dorsey. Now he's going to remove the ban and claim it's an EGM. I've seen that. The trick is gone. I can still see the K Dorsey band behind this.
Apparently, EGM will be sponsoring us. He's sucking up now. So there you go.
Listen, I don't get sold for any amount of money.
Really?
No,
There we go.
For me, it is the EGM Tiburon today.
Very nice, very nice. And my sampler is in, as I said on Thursday's call, in New York. It just left Queens, so I'm assuming it should be here midweek next week. So next Saturday, I get to smoke EGM. So I'm very excited.
I sent you a video of the sampler in the humidor.
I know. I posted that to the YouTube channel for all the fans to see. So
I did that just so that you would like sort of whet your appetite, kind of thing. Because
thank you.
It was EGM night in Belgravia last night.
Yeah,
and we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the EGM night, and now we're all lit cigars. Our fans are here, and you know what we're going to do?
About Davidoff night that happened on Wednesday night in number 6.
We could talk about that as well. Sure, we'll talk about Davidoff, EGM. We suck up to everybody. That's how we are. While everyone's lighting their cigars, kids, we're going to start the show. So here we go.
Yes, sir.
This is 2OF Entertainment.
The Habanos Cigars Dinner and Drink Show, exclusively on 2OF Entertainment, with over 100,000 YouTube subscribers and rapidly growing to be the most watched and podcast cigar show broadcast globally. The Habanos Cigars Dinner and Drink Show, exclusively on 2OF Entertainment.
And we're back now.
Hello, amigos.
There we go. Welcome, everybody. It's a Saturday morning. We're live. It's 2 days after the Turkey Day.
I don't have any drinks.
Yeah, and he doesn't have any pants. That's thanks for sharing. So he's really discombobulated today.
Yeah.
There you
go. I need some drinks.
Wow. Well, I'm drinking my Macallan.
Seriously, I'm all over the place today.
We see that.
Tell us something new. That's something we already know.
So you both of you have turned into such haters. Real haters. Okay, gentlemen,
Yeah.
I'm going to go off
Yes.
screen for literally 30 seconds.
We knew that.
No,
We knew
no,
that.
Well,
Rather
you know
than
what's
the stream with audio only.
I know it. You know what's the best thing about this? It's like when you meet him in the real world, it doesn't
Mhm.
change. It's the same thing.
That's the best
So,
part. That's the best
right,
part.
right,
With Razan,
right.
it's always the best part.
Yeah. It'd be like, I'll meet you at 6, 8:30 is good. So it's just the way it is. We're good. So when I'm in Dubai, I have a friend of mine, and
Mhm.
we'll make dinner. He says, I will pick you up at the hotel at 7 o'clock. I'm like, no problem. And everybody that's with me is like, oh, we got to be ready. I'm like, yeah, well, 9 o'clock. They're like, but he said 7. You'll see. At 7:15, the text will come in. He goes, dude, I'm running late. I'll see you at 9. I'm like, yeah, no problem. And everyone's like, I'm like, I told you. I know. Relax. There's nothing we have to rush for. So
Yeah. It's
it's a beauty.
it's like inshallah as is in Dubai or in all the Arab countries they say inshallah. So that
Mhm.
is primarily technically that means if Allah permits, right?
That's right.
But everyone knows that actually means yeah, we'll see to that.
Yeah, right. It means like
Or
we're 2 hours late.
it'll happen sometimes.
We'll get together. Not to worry. So,
Yeah.
Princess, tell us all about your exciting night, which I posted the part of that this morning already on our channel in the
Before
shorts.
we move on
Your
to the nights,
yes.
see,
Well,
Ooh.
first of all, if anyone
no,
wants us to,
hold on. Before you have to first tell us which nights are you going to talk about because you
Let's
have a
talk
lot of
EGM. Yes.
no. The clues in the clue was in Stephen's introduction. Reza, tell us about your EGM night last night.
Alrighty,
Yeah.
I thought you were going to talk about Davidoff first.
We
as
can go on to that in part 2 of the
Because then
analysis.
at the end, I will have something to talk about as well. Go on.
Oh wow. We know
Yeah.
that. I mean, listen, as I said on the HERF call on Thursday, my job is to sit here and look pretty. I do that very well, and I contribute nothing other than push some buttons. So please continue.
You're pushing mine.
Someone's got to.
Well, EGM night last night in
Right.
Belgravia in London at Tom Cigars. It was a pretty kind of exclusive sort of high-end smokers. 5 masters of Habanos were there last night, which they rarely assemble other than for these big Cuban cigar events. They don't normally get together like that.
Wow.
Christian threw a soiree. Let's call it a soiree at Tom
Look at you.
If anyone is, before I say anything about the event, if anyone is interested in the visuals of the event, they just go to my Instagram, which you can see just there,
right,
and the reposts, which will happen just there, and just there.
Yeah.
So you get lots of. Me, it's all about moments. So loads of like music thrown in and this, that, the other. I can't do it any other way. I can't do the plain, oh, here's a cigar. I can do it very, very rarely, but it's more about the moment, my enjoyment, the song that was playing in my head 3 hours earlier that will get played later on. And that's just the way I am. Anyway, so there were 11 people at the EGM event. We sampled 2 cigars, the EGM Robusto, which I believe Usman is smoking right now.
No, I'm smoking
I'm smoking an EGM French edition.
Okay. Hey, talking about that, did the Alexander whatever cigar make its way to the States yet?
Yeah, so I smoked yesterday evening. They cracked open the box of the Alexander Craft edition, which is essentially a bit like Versace and Fendi getting together, or Adidas and Gucci getting together. What EGM have done, they've made a foray of their brand. I won't say less as a cigar, but more of a lifestyle kind of choice with a lifestyle ambassador guru, which is Alexander Craft, who has a huge following apparently, and all the sort of like the chitter chatter yesterday was that he has a huge following in Germany, a huge following of female following as well. Because
did he make it to the event last night?
No, he didn't make it to the event last night. He's back in Monaco, but he will be coming over, I guess, in the next few weeks. Ettore was there,
The CEO for EGM.
the owner of EGM Cigars, after whom those initials EGM are. That is the initials of his name.
Ettore Gabriel something Moschili or something like that.
Yeah, and we sampled both cigars. Both the Alexander Craft cigar was a little bit more robust in its flavor. We were given a little bit of background. So these are both Dominican cigars. They're puros. They're completely Dominican cigars. And they had considered, in conjunction with Alexander Craft, had considered where they could get the most exclusive blend out of Dominican Republic. So their preferred original factory was in Santo Domingo. Eventually, they chose a factory in Santiago de los Caballeros,
right.
Which I've been to. Usman knows as part of the Pro Cigar kind of thing. I haven't been to the exact factory where they made this cigar because it's a very small kind of niche factory. So they're trying to place themselves in the same bracket as Davidoff cigars.
Wow.
Right. That's the bracket that they're aiming for. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean with the history of Davidoff cigars. What it means is there's a certain type of person that goes for a Davidoff cigar. Right. I guess what they've done is it's fairly obvious that in terms of if you're not smoking Cuban cigars and you go for non-Cuban cigars as an entry point into your cigar smoking journey, and God knows where that will be in 20 years' time, then you go in from a price sensitivity point of view. You're not going to spend £80 on a cigar. You're going to spend £20-30 perhaps on a cigar. I'm talking about London market. Everywhere else is different, right? So, but they want that kind of reputability of the Davidoff cigar. And actually, in my opinion, let me show you.
Steven, it's a good day. Both of us have to just smoke our cigars and look pretty.
I know. This is so far so good. I'm enjoying this.
Now, this is the band of the Alexander Craft cigar yesterday. Can you see it?
Look at that. Oh, I'm gonna cry.
It's upside down. Nice. Sorry, it's upside down.
Oh well, now I'm gonna cry. Yeah.
Can you see it?
It's beautiful. That's nice.
A little. Yeah. Now it's better.
Now, oh my goodness.
So basically, there's a picture of Alexander Craft's dog on there, which is his kind of his champion, his mascot, his buddy, his friend, etc., etc., etc. If you saw the shape of the band I showed you just now, it's almost the same shape as a Davidoff band. Actually, is that? So I think there's some brain fucking going on there a little bit. Okay. If I was to use a technical term, I would call it brain fucking. If I was to use a slightly more rugged term, I'd say it's just a mind fuck.
Okay, it's a good thing that you're a professional all the time. Let's continue.
The point being this is their game in terms of marketing is a far more psychological game. And we had this discussion yesterday, about Mad Men and the marketing of Heinz without showing a ketchup bottle. You market the name and brand rather than the product, perhaps. Because your product is not the most, the kick-ass product on the planet. Having said that, it's a product that delivers. So you don't want to oversell it. You don't want to undersell it. You want to sell it you want to sell that concept. And with EGM, it's a lifestyle concept. The lifestyle concept exists for two reasons in my mind. First of all, you've got to befuddle the YouTube censors and the social media censors who don't allow you to promote smoking. So you have to pitch the brand and lifestyle rather than the product, because you can't really say buy this cigar. You can't do things like that, right? Otherwise YouTube will cancel you. And the other reason is that it's perhaps a more powerful message lifestyle wise to hit the younger audience, the people who are coming into the cigar smoking world, at the moment the 20, 21-year-olds, 22-year-olds, where are they going to go? And also very much Ettore spoke about the female audience, because they're coming out with some products like the small, I think cigarellos, tins of 6. They talked about a whole range of products, which I won't mention on here. Let them talk about them. Now I know all the product ranges they're going to come out with, and they'll be sending me all these products to sample ahead of time before Usman gets them, so that finally I'm ahead of the game and ahead of the curve.
Hey, I don't agree, but what about the Jew? What about the Jew in America? What is the Jew going to? Is the Jew going to
Well,
get?
you guys
what do I
are in
get, the cigar
charge. You can
bands?
get it whenever you want.
It's true. It's true. I forgot that. Yeah, I'm sorry. Never mind. We don't. You know the
Very, very,
airplane.
very, very, very passive aggressive on your part. Yeah, like right in charge. But I didn't get any. Oh,
But, listen.
well.
I've come to accept that you and
Oh,
Usman.
here we go. Let me play the violin.
Yeah. He's blushing. I've come to accept that you and Usman are the cigar aficionado pros, and that the world comes to you too for
I
things.
humbly bow before you. I
As
humbly
you
bow
as you
before you.
should, as you should. But that's fine. That's for later.
If you had not given us this platform, we would not have erupted with this
Absolutely.
this insubordination that we have for you.
and I love it. And I will say that, and as people know, I look forward to this every Saturday. So even though I have to purchase my EGMs and purchase my other cigars, while you guys get like $50 million
Hang on.
for
The
free.
Alexander Crafts are on me.
The best part is I
me.
always purchase them. I do not want to have any influence of that sort, so that somebody can say, "Oh, they're marketing." So I say whatever I want to say because I paid for it.
Good. Right.
It's as simple as that.
I agree with that. I agree. He's bought and paid for it. I agree with that 100%. But to EGM and Davidoff, listen, we can also be bought. Now, please continue with the EGM.
Well, on the EGM note, I'd like to ask Usman how his cigar is smoking. Yeah, Usman, can we have a close-up?
All right, who do you want a close-up of? You or him? All right, first we'll do you. Hold on. First we'll do Riza. There's the Riza close-up.
There's my French edition.
Yes, there's your French edition. Okay, we got it.
Finally now.
All right, and now we're gonna do Usman's real edition of EGM. There you go. Beautiful. Look at that.
What an attractive looking band.
That is very pretty. It is. And look at that cigar, the burn. That's a beauty.
Very clean cut. It's basically, when you go into an Italian delicatessen, even the fucking can of tomatoes are designed properly, and that's that kind of
EGM.
Design,
It's a very, very even burn. Of course, that it has a lot to do with how I cut it, but yes,
that's true.
The construction is amazing too.
I want to say this other thing about our show, which is good for the fans that are just watching for the first time. The modesty among the group is that we are. I know, right? We are. Please, it's the modesty. The modesty
Absolute
here.
Down to earth.
Yeah, you can't even say how down to earth we are. So next week I will be smoking.
I'm the
EGMs.
most down to earth.
You're the most something.
I'm the most down to earth.
Yes. Okay, so what else is there about Alexander Crawford EGM that we need to know, or the fans need to know, before we go into the Davidoff night? And then, of course, Usman is going to actually teach us something.
Oh,
well, the essential take home for me from EGM night is that it is an accessible lifestyle product brand for a younger audience, but also perhaps for an existing Cuban cigar smoking audience, including people like me. Not every cigar in your sampler range is going to tick your boxes. Right. Only to be honest, only one has to. Yeah. In my opinion, right? Only one has to. And for me, we said this on the last show.
Couple shows, yeah.
It's that Lancero, the Encanto, the slim, thin ring gauge one that is I won't say packed with flavor, but it gives you that moment of pauses, right? Well, this is something different. This is something nice. This is something slightly chocolatey, cedary, a little bit more. A little bit more
earthy,
complex than your standard Dominican, and most Dominican cigars to me taste the same. To be very honest with you, very honest with you, they just taste the same. I could not tell you the difference between one and the other than the band that's on it. Okay, okay. So they have got a really good lifestyle product. Now, one of the controversies or one of the I use the word, this sort of mythos thing that's kind of around EGM, at least I felt it, is this kind of association with Cuba, because um, um, their marketing centered quite a lot around this nightclub in Cuba where they hold parties and gatherings, etc.,
Right.
etc. They
Bleco.
even have one of their cigars. Is it called El
Named
Bleco?
Bleco, yeah. Bleco
El
Havana.
Bleco.
Yeah, and
Right,
Bleco.
right. So there is this kind of mystique. I can only describe it as a mystique of there is some Cuban association. Now, a few months ago, I heard that perhaps I heard someone make a statement that that's the only non-Cuban sold in Cuba.
He
Now,
did.
No, he did. I just confirmed if it is true and where it is done.
Okay.
Because Raza got to know about it, and Raza, I guess, was thinking that it is being available in Hotel Nacional. So
Right.
that's what I confirmed, that it is not Hotel Nacional, but it is the El Bleco bar in Havana.
Oh,
that's
very
exactly
cool.
right. Now, that's
Okay.
exactly right. Now, because I smoke around London, which both of you know, there seems
Around
to be
London Tom Tom.
there
Around
seems to
London
be
Tom Tom.
there seems to be a little bit of resistance from some notable people
Right.
that that's a true statement.
Really?
Yes, I mean,
Wow.
I have no problem speaking my mind, to be very honest with you, but
Right.
I'd have to have a mind before I spoke it.
Oh,
You should
But
have just confirmed it from Ettore last night.
I did,
Okay.
what that you have
and
a mind, or
Ettore
is sold at
confirmed.
the El Blanco?
Now, Ettore confirmed
Right.
that it's sold, and I said to him, there is some controversy. People just don't believe you.
Right. Right.
Or let's say that no. I misspoke. They don't. It's not that they don't believe him. They just don't. They can't
Believe it.
believe it. They
Right. Right.
can't believe the concept of it. Let's put it that way, right? Well, it's fairly fucking obvious, isn't it? You go and take a photo there, and it says it's retailing and and that. But why hasn't anyone done that?
Oh, in February, check that. Every February, there are like thousands of.
I
Pictures.
understand, but then why is there the resistance? If it's so evident, I've never seen anything. Right? I've never seen anything. So the reason what I'm trying to say is this is slightly mythic, slightly sort of interesting intrigue. It's a bit of an intrigue, and that intrigue is perhaps part of that marketing thread that EGM has caught on to that other non-Cuban cigars haven't. There's
Okay.
people talk about lots of different cigars, but I never really ever see anyone smoking non-Cuban cigars in London cigar lounges, perhaps a Davidoff from time to time.
Right.
I don't see it. I don't see anyone smoking anything else, really. So they're clearly not moving off the shelves. In other parts of the world, and especially places like America, yeah, the
Yeah.
story is different. But that was my EGM flavor from last night. I had a very, very nice evening. Once again, you can check out the social medias for all the videos and photos and things.
Here
And I
as
think
well.
throughout the day, perhaps I'll be putting some more up. If anyone's interested, I'll send you bespoke stuff. But that is EGM. Over to Usman.
Before Usman goes, before you go into Davidoff and Usman, let me just say something for America, if I may. Because with Donald Trump coming in, I've spoken to Donnie, we're going to lift the embargo on Cuban cigars. It's true, because I just said it on the internet. So America now is going to take all the Cubans. You guys will be stuck with them. You'll be stuck with Dominicans. Donnie and I are working a deal as we speak.
When is he taking out?
Donnie takes over on the 20th, and on the 21st, the Cuban embargo on cigars will be lifted. But don't worry about that.
Which 20th? 20th of December?
No, of January. Yeah.
Perfect. So we've got like 1.5 months to save ourselves for the rest of the life. Okay,
there
fine.
you go. Because after that, we're gonna make stock up because we're gonna make what the Chinese do like nothing. No. But the American cigars, you guys, now you know the brands. You have Rocky Patel, you have CAO, which only makes one or two good ones. You have the Oliva, which you both hate, which on the Herf, one of the guys was smoking, which was funny.
No, I don't hate you. I just don't get it.
Right. You have Davidoff. You have the Drew Estate guys. You have all these cigars.
We have French regionals.
Yeah, right. You have, but my point is that so in America, because we don't have the wherewithal that we legally can bring in Cubans, and people order them from wherever and they get them and whatever. But so we have to make do with what we have. Now there are some Dominican brands that excellent smokes. They're flavorful, they're this and they're that. But for most guys who think they're cigar aficionados in America, I would say, and I may be wrong, 90% of them are just doing because they think it's cool to smoke a cigar and it's some sort of status. There's not too many, if you will, Rizzes and Usmans, if you will, in America that I know of. Like Kirby's an aficionado, but that can tell you everything. It's just like when I went and bought that Rocky Patel, right? I said to the guy, he goes, I bought a box. I'm like, big deal. But tell me about the cigar. And he couldn't tell me anything about the cigar. So that's the mentality, unfortunately, over here. So the reason that this show I find good is because either you're a beginner or you're an aficionado, you always learn something. Now we're learning about EGM marketing. Later, we're going to learn the Davidoff. So it's just fascinating. And at some point, if you've never smoked a Cuban, there's only certain Cubans I like, but not every Cuban is a winner. And I try to explain to people.
I agree to that point. I totally agree to that point. I do try and savor myself and get my hands on any and every Cuban that comes up, or at the max. I try and do that at the max.
Right.
But after a couple of them, I decide whether it is something for me or not. And that is why I always buy sticks first and boxes later.
Yes.
Because if I don't know what the cigar is, there's no point spending money. And if it doesn't suit my palate or I don't like it, we'll see to it.
Yeah, that's why for me, my go-to Cuban anywhere in the world is always a Partagusti. It's just like, I know it's going to be a great smoke. It's going to be wonderful. The H-Upman 50s that you had last week, or the 54s or 56s, all day long. There's certain ones I will get because I know that whether it's in Dubai or London or wherever I'm smoking them,
they will deliver.
They're not. I can give them to someone, and I'm not going to be embarrassed.
Absolutely.
There are other places, like even in America, when I go, the reason I'll go for like the 4 or 5 that I'm comfortable with is because I know for 90% of the time, there'll be a good smoke. And I think last time I was in Dubai, they had EGMs, but I didn't know who they were. And so I didn't buy them. And they were at the Ritz on the beach. Their cigar lounge has a whole bunch of EGMs. And I've never heard of them. And if I would have known, I would have, smoked them like a banshee. So my next trip to Dubai, that's what I'll do.
You're actually better off not purchasing because you did not end up paying $300 for a box, which is $100.
Yeah. So, and I can get it online from them, which is wonderful. And my box will be here. So that was my little diatribe. I'm sorry. So either Rizzo, you can tell us about Davidoff, or Usman, you can tell us whatever, but
Davidoff night. No, we talked about the Davidoff night. Raza, it's Davidoff night again. No. Because mine is something else. So you're going to go first.
Well, what is yours? Go
on. First, tell the Davidoff story.
So, I can't tell you the story. I can tell you how the sampling went on Wednesday evening.
Please
so
tell us what was the event, where you were, who you were with, and all that.
Well, I was at number 6 Cavendish on Wednesday evening for the that's
the only reason I said you were gonna go, because I didn't do Tom. So he smoked around London Tom
Tom, number 6 Cavendish, Tom, Cavendish, Tom, Cavendish, Tom. Once in a while, right? Sometimes he ventures somewhere else, but not often.
Basically, in the 80s, I oscillated between McDonald's and Burger King, and I'm reliving that now.
Oh, okay.
With your cigars, I got it.
Everyone has a favorite bar, but everyone has a bar that they cheat on with from the first one, and it's that kind of.
I got it. Listen, we're not judging you much. Go ahead.
I'm talking in allegories.
Yes, we got that. We got that. We understand it.
Now go on. Tell us the story.
Tell us about the Davidoff evening at number 6.
The Davidoff night was the year of the snake. So they Davidoff do a Zodiac series. I believe they've done 8 Zodiac series over the last 8 years. What they've done is just sort of 2 or 3 months before the Chinese New Year, which is roughly sort of end of January, I believe, end of January every year.
End of February.
So the Chinese Zodiac is the various animals and mythical animals. So, for example, dragon is in there. And for the last 8 years, Davidoff have been making a cigar to celebrate the Chinese New Year. And they call it the Zodiac series. And what they've tried to do is with each model, so for like the Year of the Dragon, they've done Year of the Rabbit, Year of the Tiger, right? So each time they do a cigar, the cigar vitola is different.
Right.
And some aspect or characteristic of their cigar kind of ties up with the animal or mythical animal that it represents. So, for example, Year of the Tiger had stripes on it within the wrapper. Am I right, Usman, about that?
Yes, sir.
So, like, scratch it, or well, maybe scratches or the tiger print, however you want to take it, right?
But it wasn't that good, though. In fact,
I don't know. I haven't had it.
Really?
I haven't had it because I unlike Usman, I don't really smoke non-Cubans.
Right.
To be
I'm a Year of the Tiger.
EGMs.
I'm a Year of the Tiger by birth. So when it came out, I went to a store and I said, "How are they?" Guys, "Oh, it's great. You've got to buy it." Well, it's like $50 a stick. I said, "All right, let me get 3." Because it's kind of the first one you're never sure about. The second one kind of gets you there. And then the third one, you either love it or hate it. And I think I still have one of them left.
It's very strange, actually, because for me, that was one of the Zodiac years which I really loved.
Okay.
So I smoked the first one, and I was there, and the gentleman who has the Davidoff distribution here in Pakistan, he offered me one, and I was like, "No, I'm good." He was like, "No, I'm just scratching. So you're gonna smoke it?" I was like, "Fine."
Right.
I was halfway through the cigar, and I said, "Do you have a box?" And he was like, "Yes," because he was like pre-sold on the boxes. I nicked them off, and I had to like arm twist him to get a box.
Right.
And I thoroughly enjoyed the box. The cigar. They've ended, but yeah, I really enjoyed them.
Stephen, did you smoke one stick?
I smoked. I actually bought 4. I smoked 3. I have 1 left, and then there was another company. There's several companies that made Year of the Tigers,
Yeah.
and I enjoyed the others better.
Yeah, Plasencia made that. Flor de Silva made that, if I'm not wrong.
I love the Essencia one, by the way. That one I really enjoyed. That one I bought a box of. I enjoyed it that much. But the Davidoff one just didn't. Yeah.
What I'm enjoying even more is that you asked me to explain the Davidoff evening, but you're both talking about it.
Okay, we're sorry. Please continue with the Davidoff evening. What were we thinking? What were we thinking? Yes, you got one in. Congratulations.
We forgot.
Yes. So you're the snake.
You broke the flow. I was in this flow, and you just went.
Okay, go on.
You asked the question. We answered. Go ahead.
I didn't ask any fucking question. I had to ask a question in order to get my
so you're at Davidoff. It's the Year of the Snake. You're at Cavendish.
I was not at Davidoff.
He was at number 6 Cavendish. It was the night for Davidoff Year of the Snake. Right. Go on, brother. Go on.
Tell us.
So what I was explaining is that each of the Zodiac cigars has some characteristic, and then the second cigar I was going to reference was the Year of the Dragon cigar, which apparently was a large vitola, and near the end of the now I'm going to use the technical expression, near the mouth of the cigar,
right?
The wrapper, there was no wrapper, so it was sort of a naked cigar. So when you light it, you get a sort of a fiery burst. This is the hypothesis. I don't know if that worked. I've never smoked that cigar, but that was the explanation given to me. Mm-hmm. Now, I was very, very lucky in this aspect at the number 6 event, that on the chair next to me in the sort of the VIP alcove, which they very kindly put me in, was a gentleman called Roy Sommer. Now, Roy Sommer is the head of marketing for Davidoff Cigars.
Wow.
Okay. And we were having this cordial discussion before we lit up the cigars, and he sort of leant over and he said, look out for the speciality of this cigar. I said, what do you mean? And it was in that conversation he explained to me the sort of the Zodiac rationale, right? Where the rationale is to sell more cigars, but each cigar, whatever. He said, look out for the lemon. And I said, what the fuck do you mean lemon, right? So wind forward 1 hour 30 minutes into the smoke, from the start to maybe 3/4 of that cigar, not in thirds, but 3/4 cigar, I got the flavor of caramelized lemons at the back of my mouth. And on the tip of my mouth. It was a very unusual, very likable, very enjoyable cigar. Excuse me. It was a Lancero.
Right.
So small ring gauge, relatively long. What length would that be? Osman, 7-inch cigar?
What? The Lancero?
Yes.
Well, it depends because the Lancero in Cubans is a 38 or 39 and 40. And
Well,
then
they match the Cuban Vitolas, so
no, they don't. No, they don't. The Davidoff.
it was confirmed yesterday that all the non-Cuban cigars, maybe not from Davidoff, but anyway, go on.
No, not from Davidoff. The other ones do, not from Davidoff.
Okay. But
Yeah.
throughout, so because it was a Lancero, we were all encouraged, even the straight cutters were encouraged to punch cut this cigar to get a more intense flavor rush from the aperture where we were smoking.
Okay.
And this cigar absolutely had the taste of caramelized, burnt lemons in my mouth. And I got that on the retrohale. I got that on my tongue. It was fabulous. Even the cocktail at number 6, 2 nights ago or 3 nights ago, was a chartreuse and gin, sort of a lemon infused cocktail that really complemented that smoke. That was a very unusual flavor profile. The question was raised, how the hell did you get this flavor profile? And the answer was, well, given that Davidoff owns its own tobacco farms, etc., since it's got X number of flavors to play with, the combination, the permutations of mix and match is about 7,000 different blends they can come. 7 million different blends they can come up with, and therefore somewhere in that 7 million, you're going to get this citrusy profile. That was perhaps the answer that most people could digest. But I thoroughly enjoyed the cigar. I thoroughly enjoyed the education around the cigar, and I thoroughly enjoyed, perhaps very much the most, was the pairing of the drink with the cigar that evening. It was absolutely outstanding, and that really kind of made me think far more favorably about a cigar that mostly I've been a brand that I've been relatively dismissive of.
I think I'm going to try the Year of the Snake. Hopefully, it's better than the Year of the Tiger. Now I'm excited about it.
Now, before we move on to something else,
here we go.
I'm going to share another point of view. Like we just talked about the Tiger, and you kind of did not like it. I really liked it.
Right.
On the same way, where Raza has talked very good about and has really liked the Year of the Snake. Right. I haven't smoked it yet, so I and they have not hit the market yet, so I don't know about it. But someone who's considered to be, again, a cigar authority, has written 4 books already, and his 5th book is coming up in February, Aaron Sigmund. So Aaron Sigmund reviewed the same cigar last night as well. And on his Instagram handle and on his Instagram posts, he had put on some stories. For him, it was something and he was like, maybe age does something good to it, but he was like, I am absolutely not impressed by the cigar and the price one has to pay for it.
Gotcha.
So that's the other side of the story, or someone who's claimed that. So let's see. I mean, everyone gets their own. That's the beauty of cigars. Everyone gets their own flavor profile and their own perception and experience of a cigar, and that is what makes it a unique thing. And that is also something which brings us all close to each other, thinking that, okay, this is what the difference of cigar lifestyle is.
Correct. That's true. You could have 5 guys smoke like the Rocky Patel that I smoked, that we talked about. I keep making fun of the guy they were raving about it, and I smoked it here on the show, and I was like, okay, there's nothing to it. It's just expensive, and you're paying for his name, and it was like, nice, all right, great. But
can I make a small comment?
You may, sure.
You can make as big a comment as you want.
It's a fucking good cigar. Try it. It's a fucking good cigar.
Yeah, and he gives it 3 fucks. and that's the most you need.
Regardless
It's a fucking good cigar.
regardless of
The only thing that I found that most people can kind of agree upon, generally speaking, is whether a cigar is bang for buck or not.
Right.
That really, like, so for example, a cigar could be fucking good, but if it's £800 per stick, it kind of nullifies your, to most people, it nullifies it from the market. The problem I suspect with this particular cigar, now the pricing of this cigar, as far as I understand, is between sort of 90 to 110 pounds per stick. This the Davidoff Year of the Snake.
Right.
That's my understanding. I paid £80 for the privilege of smoking that cigar, but that as a cigar evening, it's with a cocktail. It's kind of it's not at retail price, if you know what I mean. It's sort of like an entry kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right. But as cigars, and it's not the most. I've smoked much more third-rate cigars, which Usman knows, for more money. New World cigar.
I guess everyone knows. You've already done that.
Everyone fucking knows my opinion on this, right? And I don't give two fucking hoots who knows.
Right.
Sounds good.
That's okay.
Right.
You shouldn't hold back how you feel. You really need to let it out.
I'm normally quite a reserved and diplomatic person, but sometimes I get agitated.
Yeah, we can see.
The volcano.
Right. Do you recall a time when he has been diplomatic?
I think when he came out of the womb, I think that was the only time, maybe. And other than that, it's
anyway.
The best thing about Raza is he would just say it the way he wants to say it.
Like most of us. Yeah.
I think on the Davidoff Year of the Snake, I think I don't want to put words in someone else's mouth, but a journalist and an aficionado like Aaron Sigmund would be balancing in a lot of different factors. Right. And would so if that cigar was at a $20 price point, it would be a really great cigar for the money. You know what I mean?
Right.
It changes. It just changes the narrative completely.
That's a fair point.
It's the price point that can make you look at a cigar very favorably or very adversely. I think that price sensitivity is more and more featuring because it's become more and more apparent as the cigar industry and the products in the cigar industry get.
The cigar gods took them out.
What?
Sorry.
There you go. You're saying as the cigar industry gets more and more, and then you stop.
As it gets more vibrant, then you have the range of prices. You can go into a place like Tom Tom, Number 6, Fumar, whatever it may be in London, right? You can buy a cigar. You could perhaps buy a cigar at a price point of $20 or £20 per stick, all the way up to £10,000 per stick, depending on what you pick.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a big range for a product. 30, 40 years ago, if you bought a packet of cigarettes would cost £3.50 all the way up to £8. The range was much smaller. So, you can mix and you can move between the products. The price sensitivity changes the narrative that people give on a cigar. So it may not be a bad cigar. It just may be bad for the price. It may not be a good cigar. It may be a good cigar, but maybe it's just good for the price.
Right.
If you know what I mean.
Do you think though the pricing of cigars, we make fun of my CAO Brazilian Amazon, which is like $5 or $6 a stick. I know the EGMs, whatever that's 10 or 12, 15 US, $20 a stick. Do we think that for a lot of people that don't really know cigars, they just think if I spend a lot of money, like on Opus X or on this or that, because I spent a lot of money, since they don't know, it's just good because I spent a lot of money.
Most people don't think like that way, but we have a word that describes people who think like that, and they're called posers. We've got people who it's like the kind of people who used to buy Hugo Boss suit and leave the label on the sleeve and say, now they just didn't know better. They just did not know how that was. Right. Okay. So there are plenty of young players, not necessarily sort of middle age, but young players who like, oh, it's very fashionable to smoke a cigar. It is a fashion. It is a growing fashion to smoke a cigar.
This was like
Okay.
in the 80s again. In the 80s,
Yeah.
it was fashionable, but
But I've seen in cigar lounges, I've seen people light up a cigar and they can't take it, and they leave half the cigar and they're gone. And
yeah,
you see the whole range. Of course, you see the whole range, especially if
right.
you frequent cigar lounges, right? But the thing is this: I'm putting it to you, journalists, aficionados, enthusiasts, beginners, old timers. Everyone is price sensitive. The only people that are not price sensitive are millionaires and billionaires, or even
Right,
millionaires are price sensitive. But there are some people who like collecting cigars. They don't care how much money they pay.
right.
Just like people collect wine, they put it in their cellar. They're never gonna drink it. They're never gonna sell it. Right? Okay.
All right.
It's a hoarding mentality. Okay. But price sensitivity, I guarantee you, if you read reviews of cigars from now on, factor in that the person giving a very negative or very positive review has factored in the price much more today than they did 20 years ago.
See, I don't factor in the price. I just factor in, do I like it?
Fair point.
No, but you factor in, you like it because the price you're sticking. Well, I'm being slightly presumptuous. You're sticking to a price where it doesn't really bother you so much. If it's a bad cigar, you spend $15, $20, you throw away, no big deal. We'll move on to the next one. But if you spent $100 on a stick and you didn't like it, you would really be agitated.
I wasn't agitated on the Rocky Patel that I didn't like, that I spent $100 a stick for. I just didn't. It didn't do anything for me. It had nothing to do with price. It could have been a $5 stick. It could have been $500. I just
Did you
didn't
say
like it. It did
shtick?
nothing. Stick.
You said shtick.
Stick. Well, the Marx Brothers and I are having lunch later. But no, I mean it's the Jew. But no, it didn't matter the price. It was just I just didn't. It just there was nothing to it. To your point of where you always make a joke, it's just some dried leaves at that point. I was like not impressed.
Welcome to my world.
Yeah,
Uh,
there you go.
yeah, well, actually, both of you are going through UFOs today. I could see that. I
Yeah,
could feel that, which is why both of you, welcome to my world.
yeah.
But okay, on the point when Raza you said about the pricing and all that stuff, there's this very interesting conversation that has already sparked for the last almost 2 weeks now, as Habanos, Cigar Aficionado actually revealed that Habanos is coming up with a Behike 58 and a Behike 59
59.
next
Right.
year for the 15th anniversary of Behike. Now, the fun factor is, and there was a poll done by a very, very renowned and a very good collector and a good cigar smoker, Lauren Hughes, who runs his own channel by the name of Habano News, uh, as to would you buy a Behike 58 or 59 or not? And the update or the result of that poll has been that 75% of the real cigar smokers have actually said, why do we need to have a 58 and a 59 one? Because they're
Right.
too big in any case. And given the fact that 56 already is a big cigar, now going to a 58 ringgit, like that's insane. And
Right.
59 being a double figure order and all that stuff. And also knowing that 56 already costs somewhere around $400 to $450 if you're lucky to find it at a reasonable price or at a reasonable place. So why would you want to spend $500 or $600 for those cigars? Or would you be so most of the people have said, I would rather want that I am able to get a box of my cigars or half a box of my cigars that I can really smoke guilt-free as compared to just buying one cigar, two cigars. Yes, I might buy one for the novelty of it or for the collectability of it or just to have, oh, I have one kind of
Right.
thing. But a
Well-
lot of people and a lot of cigar smokers and aficionados from Habano or Habano lovers are really kicked off right now because of this insane pricing and this fad of coming up with all these fancy smokes which are costing on an average of $70, $80, $90 and above, whereas all your daily smokes kind of things, which used to be your $10, $15, $20, or say to $30, have just kind of vanished. And if they are available, it's become a pain to find them.
If
Right.
polling was accurate, you'd get every election result right. you know what people say impulsively online, right?
Right.
Is different to how they behave. To be very honest with you.
Well,
Okay, and I'm not saying it's inaccurate.
The question is, you're a cigar smoker, right? In my opinion, in my opinion, you are a cigar smoker more or a cigar aficionado than a cigar collector. I
Well,
I would love to be termed and considered and taken as a cigar smoker and a cigar lover rather than being considered as a cigar collector, because I don't. I
Right.
smoke cigars. Those 25% who wanted that, in my opinion, out of those 25%, 7% would be actually cigar smokers or cigar connoisseurs. Most of them will be collectors who would just collect it for the sake of the appreciation of the price, and from that perspective, like people do in wines. So I think there's a different connotation to the whole context, and it is becoming.
If you put out a poll, general public, and say, well, we're talking about Rolls Royce, okay? Right? Would you buy a Rolls Royce? Most people say, no, I won't buy a Rolls Royce. I'll buy, a Mercedes. I'll buy 3 Mercedes and a BMW. Okay, right. It's an irrelevant question. It's a nice question, but it's irrelevant. It's got a kind of obvious there's only a certain number of people who are going to spend 500, 600 pounds a stick. Asking the general public, you're going to get an obvious answer. Whether it's 75%, 100%, 50% doesn't really make any difference. Yeah, it's like there are so many enthusiasts. I'm a car enthusiast. I can't afford to buy a Bugatti, but I love the Bugatti. I love the Koenigsegg, right? Because of course, it's a very distorted question. I think that these kind of product releases are there as champions of the industry, the aspirational. There's the Rolls Royce model that everyone, maybe if they got lucky one day, would smoke or own or whatever. That's all that meaning has. These are not relevant. If you talk about more relevant questions, I think the more relevant question is 50, 60, 70 pounds too much to pay for an everyday smoke? That's a far more relevant question. In my opinion, and in London, for example, right, your average kind of semi-decent Cuban cigar starts at £45. That is fucking ridiculous. To be honest, it's fucking ridiculous. And Habanos or any of these pushers do not want you to ask those questions. People are going on about, £600 cigars. It's an irrelevant question.
Right.
It's irrelevant in terms of analytics. The obvious answer, what, are you going to get 100% of people saying, yes, let's have a £600 cigar? Who's going to smoke it?
My question, what's the cost or what's the price of the cigar that you're smoking in London?
So this cigar, K12 52,
yes,
is 48-ish pounds.
Now, may I tell you, entire Europe, the price for this cigar is somewhere between 24 to 28 euros. Now, right. So 20, and if you're lucky to get it at any of the duty frees globally, you get it for somewhere around 22, 23 euros. Now, 23 euros practically means 20 pounds. So UK market is, in any case, irrelevant in the context you were talking, because they are willing to pay 2.5 times.
I know, but I'm talking in terms of proportionality. I'm talking in terms of proportionality around the world. Okay, I know that the prices here are basically double of what you should pay, more than double, maybe 2.5 times. This I understand, right? Okay, but as a proportion around the world, right? Okay, if it's £600 here, it's $300 or $400 elsewhere. Maybe $450.
At least $450.
At least it's still a significant spend, which most people will not do, and most people will say it's irrelevant. It's an irrelevant question to me. Yeah, it's great to have a Rolls Royce, but I'd never buy one. You know what I mean? It's great to have a Bugatti, but I'll never buy one. I might get a ride in one once, but that's about it.
Right.
But here's the thing, though. Even if you can afford those cars, it doesn't mean you're going to buy them.
Thank you.
There's a difference between nouveau riche and rich. and this is what people don't understand. Just because you have the money, that doesn't mean you're going to spend, well, maybe in London, because they want to show off 500-600 pounds a stick. That's ridiculous. I don't care how much money you have. Now, if you're a collector, I get it. 100 years from now, your family's selling it, but it's just, to your point, it's just some dried leaves. Unless it's made and it's, oh my God, and you're going to have an orgasm while you're smoking it, it's still an expensive stick to purchase. And there's a quick way to go from billions to millions. You keep buying 500-pound sticks. It's like the Steve Martin joke that he wrote. His joke was, I wrote a book on how to take $1 billion into real estate and turn it into $25 into cash. It's the same kind of premise. At some point, enough's enough. It's nice that now, because we have crypto billionaires and this and that, and people that didn't really work for their money, like the guy who bought the banana for $6 million,
Oh
and
my
he's eating it, the crypto guy.
God.
So, but my point though is, if you don't work for your money and you get it because you got lucky, then you have no respect for your money. So whether you buy a $5 or 5-pound stick, or you buy a 500 or 500-pound stick, it's not material because you have no respect for it. So every cigar I buy, whether it's 5 or 6 pounds a stick, or whether it's 5,000 pounds a stick, or same with my scotch, whether it's $100 a bottle or $5,000 a bottle, I savor every second of it because I worked for the money that bought it. So there's a different mentality between nouveau riche, wealth, and rich. And it depends where your mentality is.
No, but going back to the survey that Usman was referencing, we know, I mean, we're all on social media in one way or the other, right? We all know that when you talk about money and you talk about exclusive products, it's really about social media pushing. It's really about, more likes, more followers, all that kind of crap, right? Yeah. But what I'm trying to say is, one of the dialogues that I don't see, because maybe it's a plain vanilla dialogue, is the actual pricing of cigar, just at a main level, right? The conversation we're having now is a far more important, relevant, and I believe an attractive discussion. There's no real consumer advocacy in this world, right? You remember Ralph Nader and the sort of consumer advocacy and all that kind of stuff. I think it's disaster. I think it's a fucking shock. It's to the system what we're paying for Cuban cigars now. Are we? We're not working charity. We're not here to support Cuba, right? We're here because we like a product,
right?
We like a product, and it's actually it's a cottage industry product in global terms. This product only comes out of one valley in Cuba, as far as I know. I haven't been to Cuba, right? But it's a small factory business,
right?
But by global standards. This is not Apple computers we're talking about, right? And the inflation of the price is a very, very artificial inflation by people who've got their act together and their marketing together, right? Reasonable? Is that a reasonable statement, right? And the brand ambassadors, people who are championing who are pimping these products, as far as I'm concerned, are pimping the price. In my opinion, that's all they're doing. The part of the industry I totally resent is them pimping a price, right? Yeah, $10 hookers for $200 a night. That kind of thing. That's how honestly, that's how I see them. I have no fucking gripes about things like that. If I want to say it, I say I'm a customer. I'm not in the industry. I can say what I want. If people want to cancel me, they want to cut me out, no problem. I'll go smoke somewhere else. I'll smoke something else. They're just dried leaves, right? Yeah. Okay, but my enjoyment is of a certain product from a certain place. I resent the pricing totally. Let me say that. And I think that is a real dialogue. We're not going up against America or Russia, where we would get cancelled. This is just a fucking product. That's all it is. From time to time, when I go on these rants about dried leaves in paper bands, in wooden boxes, in my head, I'm just trying to keep it. Trying to keep my perspective real as to what I've just paid £50 for. Right. You understand, right? Yeah. And that's a very, very real conversation. Get these fucking social media people and Instagrammers to talk about things like that. They won't, because they're all pussies.
Well, because they'll get canceled, and their fans don't. They sell. They don't sell.
Wearing stupid hat and stupid glasses, to sell cigars. Fine, do it, no problem. But if you want to talk about real core things journalistically, if you want, so for example, in this case, I take Aaron Sigmund's point, but I'm strongly suggest that what he's doing, He's saying, where is the bang for buck on this cigar?
Right.
I think that is a big factor. I could be wrong, yes, but if that was a $20 stick, we're talking about the Dunhill Year of the Snake, then it's an excellent cigar for that money. It's an excellent cigar. For the fact that it's priced much, much higher kind of takes it out of the range of being called excellent. It's just,
it's a cigar.
It's a cigar.
The problem is though, they're trying to make this, which it really isn't. They're trying to make this luxury thing out of it. And if they go back to when it started, the old school world, it was the old school guys, whether they smoked like, the dime store cigars, or they, the Dutch masters, or they smoked whatever, they smoked cigars for the enjoyment and for, if you will, the brotherhood of it. It wasn't a luxury product. It wasn't like, oh, you smoke cigars. Now it's like,
artificially, totally artificial.
Right.
Totally
back in the 80s, when I started, I remember cigars became all the craze. Like everybody on Wall Street was smoking. It was like, ooh, cigars, cigars, cigars. And I was like, yeah, you're good for a few years. And then you're just gonna, it's like, it's not a passion for you. It's like, it's a cool thing. So a lot of the thing they're doing, it's like, oh, we have all these nouveau riche people. They're stupid. Let's have them spend money. And what do? They spend money. Okay. And if I'm the Cuban brand, or I'm an American brand, if you will, with Dominican stuff, and I can get you to spend, instead of $12 a stick, I can get you to spend $100 a stick. My profit margin and the retailer's profit margin is huge. Are you kidding? All day long. So, but the people don't think that. They're like, look how cool I am. So it's part of the conversation on one of the herfs was, where do you enjoy it? Where do I enjoy smoking my cigar? By myself. Because I don't have to show off for I can smoke whatever I want, whether it's my CAO, or whether it's a more expensive stick, or now it'll be EGMs. I don't have to show off for anybody. And now when I'm out with people, I buy the sticks I like, still not showing off. I mean, this is what I like. This is what I smoke. And that's it. And I don't care about the hype.
And that brings this conveniently back to the EGM. For bang for buck, it's a decent cigar. It's a good looking cigar. It's a good looking lifestyle brand. It's I think I'm not wrong in saying you didn't have to hear it here first, but I think you have. That's the future, in my opinion. That's the future. I think I saw quite openly. I saw, well, actually, that's where the cigar world is going.
Yeah.
The Cubans will either outprice or reset. They'll either outprice or reset.
I doubt they would reset, but
they'll just outprice.
And they would outprice, and they would be like uber luxury, or they would be like.
Well, no, uber luxury is Mirafell. Which we won't talk about.
My apologies.
Yes, there you go.
Right. So on that note,
yes.
On that note, the thing that I wanted to talk about is the next week.
Yes.
The next week is going to be a very, very interesting week. Okay. As the year is coming to an end, and Habanos is bringing the Year of the Trinidad to its closure. For the cigar smokers and the Cuban cigar lovers, this year was kind of the Year of the Trinidad, with its 55th anniversary being celebrated this year, from 1969 to 2024. The first event was, and the first introduction was the cigar, or the reintroduction was the Trinidad Robustos Extra that they brought back in regular production. We are yet to see the boxes in regular production, but yes, they've brought them back. So those cigars are now going to be available soon. And the second of that was in July, when they had the Habanos World Days, where in addition to the Trinidad Robustos Extra, they came up with the first limited edition for 2024 as Trinidad Cabildos, which was done for the UK market as a special box, which was the premiere edition of the Cabildos. And that was the 3 days of celebrations in London, celebrating the 55th anniversary. And with the closure next week, there is going to be a global event, which is now being done by Phoenicia, the second biggest distributor for Habanos. And that is going to be an event in Doha Convention Center on the 7th of December.
Yes.
And Habanos lovers from across the world are gathering, and next Saturday is the event.
Really?
So I would definitely join in the show of our live show next week, but that would be a short one because I would there's the timings are as such that I would soon after the show would have to pop in for the event, as I would be there attending the event.
Okay.
So for our fans, there would be a lot of live updates and a lot of snippets coming from that event
Very
that
cool.
we'll be putting up here and on my Instagram handle, which is written here, as well as Cigar Keep, and the YouTube channel Cigar Guy PK. So do stay in touch and do look out for that, big as we savor the official boxes of the Trinidad Cabildos, which are going to be in the format of 12 cigars a box, which is the Trinidad format primarily, as compared to just the only Premier Edition 5 sticks a box, which was launched earlier this year. So the next weekend is going to be a very interesting and a happening one.
Very cool. Now remember, you can always just walk around live and just show everybody stuff and interview people. Feel free.
Absolutely. That's the plan.
We gave you all the codes. So
Mm-hmm.
very cool. Well, gentlemen, this was a very fun show.
Absolutely. Yeah.
This is one of our exciting shows. I hope the fan enjoyed them. And there you go. So, and the next show is in December. The year is gone.
Oh yes, sir. The year is gone.
The year is gone, and before you know it, it'll be 2025.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
And how is everybody? I will tell you, my Drew Estate smoke, the Farrell here. I had to do a couple relights, but I will say that it has a nice flavor. It has a good burn. And obviously for a non-Cuban, not a bad smoke. I don't know. I probably have to smoke a couple more to tell you if I love it or not. And I'm not sure how I got it, but it was in my humidor. So I said, oh, let me smoke something different, because everybody complains I smoke the same 3 cigars. So I figured I would smoke something different. So there you go. So not a bad smoke. Kudos to Drew Estates.
The relighting, is that because of the weather and the temperature outdoors, or is it because of the extra humidity? What do you think?
A little bit of both, I think.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so I'm not blaming. The relights. I'm not like, oh my God, it's a terrible thing. I think one, because it's literally 3 or 4 Celsius right now outside.
Yeah,
so that has a lot to do with the relights. But the flavor, the smoke, and Drew Estate makes a good. I like the Drew Estate ones, and I've smoked a few of those. A good smoke. So I don't know what it cost. So if to Drew Estates, once again, kudos to you on the Farrell. Very good cigar. Very proud.
My Tiburon was a very good smoke. It's almost towards the end.
You see that.
And it was a really, I mean, as I said, bang for buck, very pleasurable smoke, and I think great job done by EGM Cigars in bringing these Dominican puros to the cigar smokers.
And EGM I should have hopefully here this coming week. So for the next 6 weeks, I'll be smoking a new EGM every show. So that'll be fun. Looking forward to that. And Riza, how was your cigar?
I've smoked quite a lot of these K-Door Say 52s in the last 3 or 4 months. They're kind of delivering. It's a really, really good.
Very good.
They are really good cigars. They're really good cigars. I had one last night, and I must say they're very good. Especially
very nice.
Especially the size of the cigar, the pricing of it, and all that. I think it's a good cigar. It's a very good cigar, and a good addition to the K-Door Say Vitalario. To my liking, I've started to like it more than the K-Door Say 54, which I really like. But I think this 52, slightly shorter ringage than the 54.
But longer in length.
Yeah, I've started to like it more as compared to the 54.
Very cool. Well, gentlemen, that does it. Thank you to all the fans that are watching, whether they watched live or they watch it rebroadcasted later today. We will see everybody next Saturday. Usman, will be in Doha. He's just showing off. He's really going to be in Pakistan. They're just going to put a fake background up.
Please,
And Rizzo will,
please don't curse it like Raza does it every time. So
right. And Rizzo will still be in London. Be going between Cavendish and Tom and smoking around London.
So in Raza's case, I've given up hope.
Yes,
so
one day he'll show up. One day. So there we go, gentlemen. It's always a pleasure to see both of you. Thank you very much, Rizzo. Try not to disengage when we go off there. All right. We'll have a little follow up. Just saying, because we miss you. We want to talk to you.
For a bit.
Yeah, just hang out for a second. It's okay.
Yeah. Off.
That's what we figured. It's he's like, go ahead, go.
No, say it.
I was just gonna say he's kind of like the little brother you want to just duct tape and put him in the trunk. But go ahead.
Okay. Well, before we go on, please, if you have not subscribed to the show, subscribe, like, and do share it, and do share your feedback.
Please.
Cheers,
Is that it, gentlemen? We good? All right, we're good. Harpo has nothing to say. Cheers, everybody. We'll see you all next week.